All right. Hello, nerdy romantics. Hi, everyone's here. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And I've just forgotten everything to say for my introduction. Isn't that great? Lovely. Um
In good
hey
news, though, I've got your bio here if you need me.
well, in that case, Mia, I am actually going to hand over this launch party to you. We are doing the launch party for the accidental swipe, and Mia
You
Heintzelman
got it.
is the host, and we're talking the accidental swipe.
Yes.
Mia, take it
Okay.
away.
This is the Nerdy Romantics Podcast, and I'm your host, Y.M. Nelson.
Thank you so much for having me and inviting me in here with you and your fabulous nerdy romantics. I'm so happy to be here to celebrate The Accidental Swipe by Y.M. Nelson. We got all our books ready and we are ready to get into it. First, let's just learn a little bit about the author. We have Y.M. Nelson. She is based in Charlotte, North Carolina, and writes about love, women's journeys, and amateur DIY. After she spent most of her writing career ghostwriting for companies, YM decided to produce and share her own work with the public. Her debut romantic comedy, The Accidental Swipe, is based on her hashtag My Tinder series blog serial. When she's not writing, YM hosts the Nerdy Romantics podcast. Woohoo! Which she created. She can also be found teaching college English, baking something sweet, upcycling random pieces of furniture, or watching reruns from one of the Star Trek franchises. And you can follow her all over social media under ymnelson.com. You can go to her website and get all her links there. All right, so now we're going to pass it around and have our guest hosts introduce themselves. We'll start with Marcie.
Hi, I'm Marcie. I am a guest host on the Nerd and Romantics podcast, and I am a longtime friend of the author, and I am super excited to talk about her first commercial work. So let's get to it.
Woohoo! All right, we're going to pass it down to Jen Graybeal.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here to celebrate Y.M. Nelson and this fantastic book. I am an author coach, and I found her by accident and started participating in the podcast and joining her on Clubhouse, and just really excited to get to celebrate all the great things that you've been doing. So good job, hon.
Thank you for joining us. Let's pass it on to Dana.
Hey everybody, I'm Dana. I'm also a longtime friend of the author. I was there before any of us were swiping because we had beepers and AOL.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, Dana. And we'll go and move it on to Staci.
Hello, I'm Staci. I'm one of the co-hosts of Nerdy Romantics, and I have been a long-term friend to Yvonne, and it's great to be here.
All right. Thank you so much to our guest hosts. We are really excited to have you here. Looks like we've got our intros in. We want to know a little bit about this book. If you want to give us a little bit of detail on it, tell people what this book it is, what's the genre, and what can they expect from The Accidental Swipe, YM.
Okay, so the accidental swipe is a steamy contemporary romance, and it is all about being at that point, almost in your 40s, a little bit jaded, and maybe thinking, I got everything else together except my love life. So that is where we meet our main character, Fortune Edwards. She is in that space. She's got everything else together except that love life. And her best guy friend, Louis, is kind of like, hey, girl, you're
So she,
yes.
let's move this along, Louis.
Right. He's like,
To it.
get it together. So he kind of forces her out there on a dating site called Swipe Match. Around the same time, our hero in this book, Jason, he is more like a serial first dater. He's been out there for a little while, not finding what he wants. And so he is dared by his friends to go on swipe match as well. And so that is how Fortune and Jason get together, and a lot of hijinks ensue after that.
Absolutely. I can confirm. Okay, let's talk about what our NRP hosts thought of the book. Let's start with you, Marcie. I promise I'm not going to pick on you first every single time.
It's all right. I don't mind. I thought the book was engaging. I was ready to read the next page. Sometimes when you get into a rom-com, especially for me, I feel like the pace is kind of slow, but this one I really was engaged in the characters and I really wanted to see the next page. And even if I was mad at them or I was like ranting back at their inner dialogues, I really was invested in these characters. And I think that that's something that I appreciate about the book itself is that you do get to invest in these characters and in this journey that they're on. And so I had a good time reading it. I read it pretty quickly, and I enjoyed it. I thought that even if I didn't like their choices, I liked I liked the story of watching them go through those choices, and I'm excited that the story continues.
Yes, indeed. Okay, let's move on to Stacy. Let's get some of your favorite parts about the book.
Well, I enjoyed the book too. It's my favorite parts about the book. I guess overall, like Marcy said, that I liked the characters, that you were really engaged with them. I liked that they were just fully rounded. They weren't one dimensional. And I think I talked about this earlier when I was first talking to you about the book, Yvonne, was that, I was really involved with the decisions they were making. And like Marcia said, even though you didn't agree with the decision, sorry, I'm about to sneeze. I sneezed and then it didn't happen. You didn't necessarily agree with everything they did. And some of the things, the trope of just talk it out. If you just talk it out, it'll be okay. But talk it out. But overall, man, I just really enjoyed the book. And I guess a favorite part of it, I guess the initial, when they were first, was it the first date? It's been a
Yes.
it's not a while, but I did read it when it first came out. But I mean, I just really overall just enjoyed it. I kind of like the stalking of it initially, and that whole okay, that's the guy I've been stalking. It's like, no, I knew that wasn't going to be the guy, but at the same
I
time,
knew
I
it
was
too.
like, I
The whole
remember
time
seeing
you're
a
thinking,
skit about
random.
that whole thing about people taking pictures on Tinder or wherever they like Match.com and all that, and they'll have a group picture. And it's like, come on, you
Right.
don't do a group picture. Which one are you? Just do
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
That is so true.
Mhm.
Because you're like, okay, this is the guy I got a crush on, and he's in this picture. So obviously it's him because why would the fate do this to me?
Destiny at
But
that point.
no, man. All right, we're going to move on to Dana. Let's get a little feedback from you about what were your favorite parts and maybe who's your favorite character.
So first, I just have to say, Stacey, that just reminds me of the Queen Latifah movie, Bringing Down the House. I don't know.
Yes,
Whenever she
I
says
love
that
that.
group picture and she's the convict in the back, whatever. Um, so I will share with you guys that, and I've already shared this with Yvonne. So Yvonne knows that I'm kind of going through some stuff right now. So I actually have not read the book yet. I am saving it. I'm going on vacation and I'm going to be able to relax. And I've heard it was a great beach read. But now I have been there through the process of the writing of the book. So I am very aware of these characters. And I'm actually very excited to see Yvonne's work from where it started and how she's developed these characters and to flesh them out. And Yvonne knows, like, already I can tell you one of my favorite things about this book is that the characters aren't 21. Well, let me rephrase this that the female is a 21 and the man isn't a 45-year-old professor. So those things already for me, I was like, you know what? I'm here for this. I'm ready for that. So for me, my plan is to absolutely read it, but I'm just so, so excited and so proud to be able to say, I knew Ron win and to share her story, literally her story and her book with people in the world and the people now.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And let's move on to Jen.
Oh gosh, I had so much fun reading this book. So two things I'll talk about. Number one is the banter. I love a book that has great dialogue. I want that to be real when you are talking to your friend. I want you to be real when you are on your first date because that's a whole thing. And what I also like too is that there's a couple of scenes that sort of take us to Fortune's workplace and the way that she interacts with her colleagues in a workplace. And this sort of like leads me into the other thing I want to talk about is that we get to see Yvonne at or Yvonne Fortune. We get to see Fortune. Oh my god.
That is not me, but we can talk
It's
a
not
little bit
you.
about it.
It's not
We
you.
can
That's
talk
all
a
right.
little bit about it later.
That's okay. But we do get to see Fortune in these different spaces, and we get to see her as a really like layered and complex character. She's not just a one or two dimensional kind of a person. She's complicated and she has very complicated feelings and she has so much to be excited about and so much that she is so fun. Man, she's so fun. I just want her to be my friend. And so it was really fun reading a complex character like that and sort of watching her go on this journey and all those times that she is so certain of herself, so sure and so confident. And then she gets put in a situation where she is suddenly like all the confidence is completely evaporated. And we've all had that experience. Like it's a very real thing for that. And then the last thing I'll say is I really want to try those cinnamon rolls. I really, that's a great way. I'm just saying cinnamon rolls all the time, every day. Thank you.
That is a great seg into my next question because I was going to say, let's talk, get ready for it, cinnamon rolls, swipe match, and body positive rep in this book. So those are all great things that I really loved about it. And I wanted to hear what you guys thought about it. Let's go with Dana.
And knowing Yvonne and again, knowing what this book was going to be about or some of what the topics are going to be about. It's funny because Yvonne, I was actually talking to somebody earlier this week about your book. And the first thing they said to me was, well, is it about her? And one of the things I said is, I don't know how you can be an author and write a book and not have some
Right.
personal experience with your character, especially if you're going to write a good book, right? But I feel like the whole body positivity is something that we have all struggled with. So I don't, some background on us, we actually went to college together. So Staci, Marcie, and myself. And
Oh,
so I think
nice.
the whole body positivity part is so, so important because it's been such a large part of our lives. And
Mhm.
for so long, her insecurities are the same insecurities that we have all had or and may currently be having. And the thing I like about the characters, how you can one day feel like you're all secure, I got it together, and the next day you don't. And I think that's so real, especially me.
Mhm.
Like people, I think when I was younger, like I was so secure, I thought I was everything and a bag of chips. Like you couldn't tell me.
And the bag of chips.
Yeah. And now that I'm older, I find that I have become less secure in some things, which to me makes no sense, right? Because I'm supposed to be getting to the age where I don't care what anybody thinks about anything. But that's not realistic and it's not true. And so I think that playing into this book is really important. And I can't imagine Yvonne having written a book that doesn't incorporate body positivity because it's such a big
Yeah.
part of her life for real and everything
Right.
that's going on now. So
Now, body positivity is such a PC word now, but really it's like about self acceptance and believing that everybody deserves love, no matter what you look like or going through or what happens to you, period, in your life.
Mhm.
And so I love that that is a crucial theme in this book. Let's get to
And
more feedback. Okay,
I
go ahead, Marcy.
also
You were next.
I also think that I liked that it wasn't one-sided, that there's
Yes.
also a male character and we get to see and be part of what that journey might feel like for a man. Easy to think that only women have these challenges, but then you hear that he goes through some of the same things about his own makeup, and they both have these places where they feel super confident and where they have some insecurities. And I think that that was a nice dynamic because a lot of times the woman is a hot mess and the dude has it all together. And then like he swoops in
Yeah.
and in this one you saw two people who both had challenges they were working through, but trying to get past in this whole
Yes.
dating experiment in this day and age of internet dating, online dating, apps and swipes and all that. All of us in that moment where you're trying to put out the best version of yourself. And sometimes you think it's to put you in a picture of other people versus putting yourself out there. I think it's interesting that he chose the group picture and that her
Mhm.
profile was different. There's a perspective. I noticed there's a difference there that I think is a good call out. And I think it's something that oftentimes we don't see in rom coms. And oftentimes we don't see that male perspective in the same way. And I think seeing
Mhm.
both sides really did make the story more engaging.
Absolutely.
And I appreciated that.
Yeah, because too, with rom-coms, people assume that it's just all laughs and slapstick, but that is not the case. Rom-coms, as a rom-com writer myself, I know that you can incorporate that emotion and real genuine feelings and experiences that people go to, but offset it with a little. I go 50-50 rom and com. So when I'm checking my chapters, you want to get a little bit. That's just a little bit of relief, but it's still real stories and real love.
And I
Let's get
have
some
to echo
feedback.
Jen. She's right. The banter was flawless. Like it was, I mean, every time I was like, yes, like this is the conversation I would like to be having with someone. So the banter and the date vibes were definitely top tier.
Absolutely. Okay, Jen, since she passed it to you.
All right. Yeah. So, and I really loved how much Fortune really loved her body until she had to put her body on display. And that is a real thing. It's so easy to be confident and feel good about yourself when you're in your work environment. And I think that was really smart of Yvonne to kind of let us see that side of her and see how very confident that she was in those situations and how great it was, how she felt totally prepared. And when she's hanging out at home and she's got her best friend there and how she sees herself and how confident that she is and the way that she positions herself. But I think there's just something about those early dating and just trying to feel like you're feeling them out and you're feeling yourself out. And what do I feel? It's a lot of information all at once. And so I really loved the way that Yvonne tackled that. And I love that she incorporated the insecurities of our hero. That was great. And I also really appreciated that he was a cinnamon roll hero. I love
Yes.
that in addition to cinnamon rolls, and those sounded like the best ooey gooey cinnamon rolls ever. But
Yes.
a cinnamon roll hero is someone that they do kind of have their life together and they've got that caretaker element to them. They're not rude and aggressive. They're good listeners. So when I think about my romance heroes, like those are the guys that I tended to really gravitate to. I really appreciated
Same.
also, somebody else was saying, these are not like 21, 25-year-old kids, right? This is a grown adult man who has a real business, right? And real responsibilities. And so when it comes to planning that first date, that he put thought into it for the place that they went and what the whole kind of setup was, that he had a plan. And I'm like, yes, thank you. Have a plan.
That's when you're yelling at the book. Yes, thank you.
And I am,
That
you
was
know?
really endearing.
It really was. It was fantastic to kind of look at that and think, okay, this is a man with a plan. I'm already in love. And then,
Right.
like I said, cinnamon rolls right on top of that. And being in love with who she is and being interested in who she is. So well done.
Absolutely. Let's let's say hello to Gracie. Hey Gracie, do you want to give some feedback on any of those topics? We had cinnamon rolls, swipe match, and body positivity that we were discussing.
Well, I loved all of it. Loved the book, Yvonne. Yay! I
Thank you,
write with
Gracie.
Yvonne, so we meet up a couple of times a week and we crank words out, and her words are amazing. I love this couple. I love Jason. He's definitely a really good book boyfriend, and I tell Yvonne he's like a cinnamon roll with some crusty edges because yeah, his
Yes.
shit can be sharp. If he thinks
Yes.
Fortune's gonna get hurt, and that's a good thing, that it shows that he will be there and protect her without having to be this macho alpha guy who is, like, knocking things out all over the place, and what I love about the couple is that you do get to see the vulnerability in them, because when you see a vulnerability in in characters is when you can relate to whatever it is. Sorry, if you're hearing all this background noise, my husband and son are doing whatever they're doing. So hopefully I have a house after this.
That's just life. That's just life.
Yes.
About the
Always something going on in the
vulnerabilities, right?
background.
Because the highs and the lows are what really make you enjoy a story. If it's all one tone, and this book had highs and lows, and you rode the roller coaster with both characters, it wasn't just, like you said, a one-sided view. You were like the double roller coaster with both of them. So it was a great ride. I loved reading it and I can't wait for the next install.
Yes.
I have been married forever. It seems so. I got married before the whole swipe revolution. So I've never had to go through that to understand.
It's just swipe revolution. You are
If
too
I
funny.
had to go through that, I'd be terrified right now. So reading that for Fortune, I could feel when she swiped the wrong way. I was like, what? Great job.
Yeah. The sheer terror. You're like, oh no. And you felt it for her. You were right there with her.
Oh,
emotionally.
absolutely.
All right, let's move on to Stacy.
Okay, well, I do like that for the body positivity that the character was real. Sometimes when they do plus size characters, they're either all one or the other. So it's like, oh gosh, I hate myself, and it takes that
Yeah.
special man to open her up and give her the
Oh.
strength, that kind of thing.
Right.
Or you have it set to she's superwoman all the time, and that even though she's living in a society where being plus size is not considered the classic beautiful, but somehow she overcame it and she loves herself all the time. And it's like and it's like it's always one, not always, but a lot of times they do either do one or the other. But I did like the fact that we had both. And I think that's how a lot of us, at least me,
Right.
it's kind of like that. It's just times I really feel strong and confident and I am, or sorry. But and then sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, should I wear this? Is this too tight? Should I have more Spanx? I mean, I think we all feel that way. And the fact that it showed on her in the book that she has that feeling. So like it's one thing, I'm dressed up to the nines. It's one thing when the dress comes down, it's like, and you see the Spanx and you see all the stuff that, extra strength, whatever has kept in. And you have to be like, this is how I really am. And I like the fact that she was vulnerable in that position, but he seemed like he understood and didn't care. And it's like, yeah, I knew you had this. Some men are not dumb. It's like, yeah, they can't really be that high all the time. You knows a woman, truly knows a woman's body and that appreciates it in all its forms. And I did see that in there and I did appreciate it.
Same.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, let's move to our author. And get
Oh
to see
boy.
that.
Well, I love what everybody's saying and that everybody's picking out different things because these ladies know me. I love that, I am delivering kind of what is hoped for, like Dana said. And Dana, I hope that you like it because I'll tell you something. I don't know why she feels like, oh my gosh, I can't contribute because she gives kind of the real side so I can kind of bring in, yes, a lot of what you're seeing here is what we kind of talk about. And it's part of listening to the readers and actually feeling close to the readers because I am close to the readers. Dana and I have been friends for decades. I've heard her say a lot about different romances that you want to see that's body positive representation, or you just want to see you. And so that is why Fortune is plus size. Fortune is not in her 20s. She's in, almost 40. I'm in my 40s. and she's out there doing things, which, yeah, that's kind of me. I'm out there, I'm single. And of course, part of this was inspiration. The story actually wasn't something that I went through during my Tinder series. I didn't. If this had been, I'd be married by now. Because I'm locking Jason down, definitely. But Dana was one of those people who gave me a lot of feedback when I was doing that series. And I felt like at the end of the series, I'm still single. So I felt like I needed to write a happily ever after because even though I didn't have one, I'm like, the readers need to have one. And
And
so,
isn't that one of the
yeah,
joys of writing is that you can embellish and create the endings that you want?
I
You know,
love that part.
that's the part
I
I love.
love that part. I can just make this up into the way I want to. And kind of with that too, I keep hearing the whole realness part, and I was kind of actually a little bit concerned how real it was in some places because when the first reviews started coming, and maybe you put a book out there and it's just whatever. It lands with some people and some people it doesn't. So when some of the very first reviews came out, I was kind of concerned that people were saying that she was just insecure because they were picking up on her little, she's having body issues when she's around this guy, or she can't get it together when she's dating, kind of thing. And I was like, no, Fortune's not insecure. It's real. It's like, yeah, sometimes we're just not going to feel good about ourselves in dating situations because we're not sure how the other person is going to react, especially if you've already had some kind of past trauma, bad experiences with guys. It's not like you're going to go into it all, "Hi, I'm great, and this is going to be an awesome date." I mean, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. You're going to have some realness there, and I like that at least everybody here who I feel like is in my target audience is at least getting the fact that this is realness and it's not just one-sided as far as insecurities. When it comes to swipe match, obviously that was so little piece of information here. This book was almost going to be called The Tinder Mistake. And then I realized I probably don't want to say Tinder in the title because I'm probably going to get in trouble with Tinder by saying Tinder in the title. So I had to rename it. And so that's why the whole swipe match thing. And so that's where that came from. And that's kind of where the I felt at that time when I was doing the My Tinder series, kind of what Dana was saying about sometimes you feel those highs and you feel like, yes, I look good. And then there's some days that you just don't feel that way. You don't feel that way all the time. And I think with online dating for me, it made me feel that I'm unsure. It doubled that feeling for me. And so when Fortune is nervous and she dreaded going on swipe match to begin with, and she's nervous about this, and then she just grabs onto this one little hope that this person is her crush, you know, I kind of felt all those little things while I was in my whole Tinder phase. And so I kind of wanted to bring that out because I feel like that's part of what inspired this. And then lastly, with the whole cinnamon roll thing, yeah, I just like cinnamon rolls. I like cinnamon rolls as a food. I like cinnamon roll guys. I mean, and I love the full crusty Beta Edge kind of thing. I like them to be like, I'm going to fight somebody if I have to, but I'm not going to fight you because I'm in love with you kind of thing. I have like maybe one alpha in my brain right now that I may write, but that's not really where my book boyfriends, they're not going to be alphas. Yeah. Yeah. It's not
Yeah,
going to
give
happen.
me a cinnamon roll over alcohol any day.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, we got time for a few more questions. I wanted to know, what was your favorite scene, Vaughn?
Oh my gosh. So I'll say this because I have a favorite scene that I wrote and a favorite scene that I like to read. So without spoiling anything, my favorite scene that I wrote, and I like to read it too because it makes me laugh, is the scene with Jason and Louie and the check and the fundraiser. That was my favorite scene to write. That is also kind of my favorite scene to read and laugh when I want to be in that whole comedic mood, but there is a little bit of a serious tone behind it. And part of the theme of that, hint, hint, wink, wink, for those who are waiting for book 2, part of the theme of that is going to go into book 2 of that scene. My favorite scene to read, but not necessarily that I wrote, it was the hardest scene that I've ever written in my life, is the hate sex scene. And I know everybody's like, hate sex, and I love the hate sex. And I'm like, yeah, I'm glad that you like it because that was very hard for me to write. Yeah. But it was fun. It's fun to read. I hope everybody enjoyed that.
Okay, we're going to rotate this question around favorite scene. I'll start with you, Gracie.
Okay, favorite scene. I actually like when they first meet, how comfortable Jason is with her. And it sets the tone for the book that he was like this from the beginning, and it only ramps up all the way through. So I think you had a really good meet cute with when they actually came
Yes,
together.
I love a good meet cute. Okay, I'm going to pass you up, Dana, since you haven't read yet. And I'll go to Stacy.
First of all, I like steamy romance. And I don't think you mentioned it, but I think I wasn't expecting a steamy romance from you. So when that happened, I was like, I don't know how I felt about it, because part of it, I know she's not you, but like how you put the character in, but part of it was like, oh my gosh, Yvonne. And I was like, oh my gosh, Yvonne. I don't want to be in
My
your
eyes closed.
yeah. But it was a good scene. It was just that I was like, okay, this is my friend Yvonne. You did it so well, but I was at the same time, I was like, okay, I gotta stop seeing these characters as people I know.
That's one of the hazards of romance. You're all going to be imagining certain people. May not have anything to do with the character, but it's still going to be stuck in your head.
Yes, and I mean, I do like the build up that to that part, because I think I've talked to you about other authors I've read, and they're supposed to be steamy, but this only has like a couple of scenes, or maybe just one in the whole book. And I won't mention the author, but it's my favorite romance novel writers, and she builds it up to the point where, hey, when it finally happens, it's like, wow. But you're so entrenched in the story and the banter and the characters
Mhm.
that you don't miss it. And then when it happens, like, oh yes, there it goes. And I was kind of feeling the same thing here, that because of all the things that were happening with them, the banter, the back and forth, the miscommunication, but eventually, and granted, hate sex is to me not my favorite kind of sex, but it was good. It was well written. And I was very pleasantly surprised. I was like, oh my gosh, I know someone who writes stuff like this. And so that was probably one of the best scenes, as in most surprising to me, but also was like, oh my gosh, she really does this well.
Kudos to you, Yvonne.
Very big
Okay.
kudos to you.
Oh my gosh. I'm blushing. You can't tell, but I am.
You're supposed to be blushing during this part of the conversation. All right, Jen, let's hear from you.
Okay, so I already talked a little bit about the first date scene and how much I really loved the thought that he put into that. And I thought it was also very real in the way that they had kind of some moments of great conversation and then just sort of silence, like I don't know what to say next and looking around. And so I thought that was very real. But the other scene I really loved is when she enters the gala and she's in that dress. And I just loved that. It's such a short little piece, but man, I love that. I just was like, I love it. So there you go.
Thank you, Jane. All right, Marcie.
So first, I would like to say that as I was reading that scene, I didn't realize it was hate sex until they described it as such. I mean, sure, I guess I figured it was more like makeup sex, but I didn't realize yeah, like I think that was, but I think that was a good thing because I didn't realize that's what it was. Yeah, it was great, but that was not my favorite scene. Probably my favorite scene to read, just because I thought it was funny and quirky, was when they went to the bar and she was talking about knowing the guy at the door, Darius, and that interaction between the two of them. I think that was clever. I think it was a good way to point out how much they knew but didn't know about each other at that point. And I also just thought it was well placed. It gave you an opportunity to put some other things in about how they were both feeling. It gave you a chance to revisit her feelings about that place. I thought it was really good. And so I enjoyed that one. So that was probably one of my favorites.
Okay, I was on mute. Okay, so we are going to move to a quick round, this or that. So you can all take yourselves on mute. And then we're going to wrap up on the agenda. And then there's a couple more things at the end, and we'll do a toast. Okay, so quick round of this or that. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
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 Water.
Water.
No, it's crazy. There's nothing better than a nice cold glass of water.
If it's cold, yeah, right when you're really
Yes.
thirsty, it could really do some things for you. But I'll take the coffee in the morning and some tea. Jason or Graham?
Jason.
Jason.
I mean, that was a giveaway. That was a
Bye,
I'm gonna
Graham.
choose Graham.
What?
Who
Swipe
was
match
it?
or Tinder?
I said, bye, Graham. I said,
Nobody wants Graham. Okay, swipe match or Tinder?
oh, swipe
That
match.
match, I know what happened on
Swipe
the
match.
for real. No way.
Right. Yeah, no.
For real.
Yeah.
Okay, next one is night out or night in?
Not in.
Night
Night
in.
in.
Night in.
Night in.
The right
I feel like
night.
night out is just overrated nowadays. Okay, chocolate candy or fruity candy?
Chocolate.
Chocolate candy.
Chocolate.
Sweet tarts, fruity.
Okay, got. I have some would you rather's. Are we okay with it?
Yes.
That's keeping track of time. I got some time. Okay.
You
Would
clearly
ra-
haven't met us.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we could be here for hours. Yeah.
Okay, well, I am like so punctual with it. Just in case. All right. Would you rather be stranded together or vacation together?
Oh, vacation.
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 Yes.
I'm sorry, stranded because I
stranded
love me a
too.
forced proximity, only one bed kind of thing. Yes.
Yeah, you
We got,
cannot
to
get
build,
away.
we got to
each
build
other.
this hut together.
No, I need to have prepared for that. I need the
nice.
underwear
That's how you
that
find out.
matches
Right,
and
when I hear stranded,
and a
I'm like,
Oh my
toothbrush.
gosh.
oh, well, no cleanliness. Not this doesn't
Yeah,
sound.
no.
Stranded.
need-
I'm thinking this is awful.
Right. I need to,
Some
to
full-on
get
survival.
ready for this.
Survivor, come on.
I would rather be on vacation where there's only one bed left. There's only one room. They overbooked us, but I have my luggage still with me.
Oh Lord.
I
For
love how
the
much thought
stranding.
you put into that.
Right, yeah,
Because
I
I
know,
have my
right?
luggage.
Exactly.
Okay. Would you rather get married and save face or go on a solo honeymoon?
Go on a
Solo
solo honeymoon.
honeymoon.
Yeah.
Solo honey.
Easy. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I need to announce some VIPs.
Yes, these are some of my newsletter subscribers that wrote into me or that said, yes, and did some clicking on my newsletter. So this is also a plug for my newsletter. Why don't you get on my newsletter? Uh,
How can they sign up for your newsletter, Yvonne?
they can go to ymnelson.com/subscribe. And while you are there signing up for my newsletter, you will also get a free copy of Stardate, which is a Trekkie romance. And it is also steamy. Yes, it's also steamy. I guess that's what lane I'm in right now.
She said that for you, Stacy.
But yes, these are two people who find each other at a Star Trek convention, which for everyone that kind of knows the podcast knows I love a good Star Trek movie or show, but I've never been to a Star Trek convention. But I love Star Trek. And for those who don't know me from the podcast, I am a lot about nerdy romance. So there are a few nerdy, geeky things that happen in The Accidental Swipe, and obviously Stardate is straight up nerdy, geeky about Star Trek. So there's always going to be a little nugget of geekiness in my books. But as far as my newsletter subscribers, my VIPs, two of my VIPs will receive these coasters. I don't know if you can see them, but they have a phrase on them,
Well,
and the
you can
phrase
pour me a
says,
Moscato instead.
yes, well,
Oh,
you
sorry.
could pour me a Moscato instead, which is a line that Fortune says she loves her Moscato.
Fortune.
And there you go. She loves it. And that's also not why I am not Fortune. I'm not really a wine drinker like that. But they will receive a set of 4 of these coasters. So that is Latoya W. and Jean P. I hope I'm saying that Jean right, but I will contact them. So yay!
Congratulations.
Congratulations. And shout out to the newsletter because it always has a fun contest if you read in the right places. So, I enjoy the newsletter, but I try not to participate and win.
It does have a little fun something in it. For my newsletter subscribers, they have asked for a little more of me. So now that you've got the first book, you see a little of me, you'll see a little more of me in that newsletter as well.
Okay, and looks like we're ready for a giveaway.
All right. I have a t-shirt that I'm going to give away. And actually, it will be this t-shirt that I designed. Can
Very
everybody
cute.
see it? This t-shirt is actually on sale right now in my TeePublic merch store. I just happen to have some merch out there for the podcast. And I thought, hey, they want to design a little something for the book too. So this is the imaginary logo for Beans and Bread. If you know, you know. That's all I'm gonna say for that, so I don't
I'm
spoil
headed to the tea
anything.
shop now. That's
Yes. So I will be giving this t-shirt away, and I'll be doing that on my Instagram. I'm gonna do my first Instagram giveaway because I also have reached a milestone on my Instagram. I actually have now over 500 followers. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe this. So I'm going to do this giveaway on my Instagram, and this t-shirt will be the prize.
Perfect. Okay, before we do our celebratory toast, let's talk about the fact that we have some books coming. Next up, it looks like is The Accidental Proposal, followed by The On Purpose Wedding.
Yes.
And we also have The One You Slept On. And we've got Secret Second Chances, a novella coming. So lots of books coming from you. And how can they find you besides your website and your newsletter?
Okay, so besides my website and my newsletter, I am author YM Nelson on just about every social media thing out there. Not everyone, but most of them. On Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter/X, whatever that is. Yeah, you might find me saying something snarky on Twitter every now and then. But I love my Facebook and my Instagram. I also have a Facebook group called Nerdy Romantics. And hey, now that I'm thinking about this, I may do a giveaway in that group because I love them. So
Absolutely.
we'll see what happens there. And I am author YM Nelson on Pinterest. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because a couple of people have talked about who they see for Fortune and Jason. And on my Pinterest, I have a Pinterest board for this book. I did some fangirling, I guess, out there. So it does have a few representations of my muses for Jason and my muse for Fortune. So you can go out there and
Go
check
check it
out.
out.
Yep, check it out. Usually I'm on Facebook or Instagram. I'm usually there every day. I'm on Twitter sometimes. And I'm on Pinterest every now and then, but my boards are always up. And when I'm in kind of plotting mode or when I'm in character development mode, I love to go out there and do a little fan casting out there. So check out those boards. And of course, I'm on the Nerdy Romantics podcast, but that's where y'all are
Cheers
right
to
now.
that.
So, yeah.
All right. We are ready for a celebratory toast. Celebratory toast. Words out. All right. Anybody else out there? It doesn't matter what you're drinking. It could be water.
Right.
All right.
For the water.
Cheers.
Cheers
To you and to Accidental Swipe. And I'll take a sip.
Drinking on brand.
Thank you.
Cheers.
I love y'all for being here. I do want to give a shout out to Dana for this lovely mug that she gave me. She's given me so much awesome stuff, and her store is called Create Some Envy. And I'm always talking about it on TikTok. So yes, I'm on TikTok too. I just don't talk about it. I'm on TikTok. But I'm out there. I'm always unboxing and showing stuff out there. So if you like unboxing stuff or whatever, if you like those kind of videos, yeah, I do some of that out there too. So thank y'all. This has been so fun. I'm having so much fun right now.
I'm
So
just
are we.
proud of you. So proud of you because I know
Yes.
how hard you have been working for years. So congratulations.
Yeah, you are. It's inspiring to watch the journey. It's a privilege to be a part of it, and I am especially grateful for being a guest host and being able to share what we love with the world. And so, thank you for that opportunity for us to travel along this journey with you. You super proud of you, and we'll always love you. So, congratulations, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
All right. And I'll just go around and thank everybody for joining us today. Everyone who's going to listen to this. Thank you, Yvonne, for having me. Thank you, Marcie, Jen, Dana, Stacy, and Gracie for being here with us. And the Accidental Swipe is available now.
Yes.
Thank you,
Available
Mia.
now. While that's the end of our discussion, it's not the end of the story, so to speak. We now have premium episodes, which you can get in your feed, wherever you listen to podcasts, or in your inbox if you listen on nerdyromanticspodcast.com. And if you want to know more about the Nerdy Romantics world, sign up for our newsletter. Visit my website at nerdyromanticspodcast.com for more details. Now that's the end of the story. Until next time, thank you for listening.